Just recently, we told you about the update of the reference series, the most popular in Klipsch's catalog, using the R-600F floor-standing speakers as an example. However, along with reference, the reference Premier family has also been updated. Its representatives look almost like the reference models, but technically they are completely different and addressed to more demanding listeners. Next to me are the floor-standing RP-6000F of the current second generation. In this video, you will learn about them and about the changes in the reference Premier series in general. And at the same time about the reasons why, with virtually the same size, layout and design, these second generation RP-6000Fs are noticeably more expensive than the R-600Fs from the younger reference lineup, and whether it is worth overpaying. Hello everyone, this is Pult Electronics and me, Deco. Let's go! In terms of model release schedules, Klipsch is something similar to a car manufacturer. Every 8 years or so, the Americans release a brand new generation of speakers, and in between, every 4 years, they refresh the models by releasing a so-called second version. Something like a restyling of already for some time produced car models. Within the framework of this refreshment, not drastic but noticeable changes in appearance and the technical part are made, exactly to the extent to remind about the product and to interest new buyers, but at the same time not to upset the owners of products of the previous generations. As part of this concept, the available speakers in the reference family have been updated, and the reference Premier family has been similarly updated. It includes wall-mounted satellites, auxiliary speakers, 3 center speakers, 2 shelf models, and 4 floor-standing models, the 2 oldest of which, with the Index 8000, are distinguished by the presence of a built-in Dolby Atmos top module. And our today's guests, the RP-6000F, are the middle towers in the series, the best option for most typical rooms of 20 to 30 square meters. A brief reading of the specs may suggest that only the front panel design has changed, and not much. This makes the front panel look a little more laconic, but also more modern. The grills are still magnetically mounted, the supports are still aluminum, and the housings are still slightly tilted back. The layout of the drivers and their diameter have not changed, and the hybrid tweeter horn, covered with silicone, is still in place. Even the cone materials are the same. Nevertheless, it is the design of these speakers that differs from the first generation RP-6000F quite significantly, even though the tweeter has migrated to the updated model without any changes. It is a driver with a 1-inch titanium dome and an acoustic damper, but the horn is new. It is larger than the previous one and of a slightly different geometry. And the identical 16.5 cm diameter mid-range drivers are actually created anew. Yes, their cones are still made of copper-plated ceramic metal, but the designers have tinkered with other elements, in particular added Faraday rings, which according to their assurance allowed to reduce the already low level of distortion while maintaining almost record-breaking for home acoustic sensitivity of 96 decibels when measured in a typical room. The cabinet has also been updated. It has been given an internal bracing system to reduce resonances. Although the 6000S are two-way towers, each of the main drivers is housed in its own separate chamber and works with its own personalized reflex port equipped with a Tractrix horn head. There is a choice of 2 film finishes in a very realistic black wood veneer or maple veneer. The front panel and grills are always black. Well, the main functional update is the appearance of wiring for RP-500SA2 satellites, which can not only be mounted on the walls as rear speakers, but can be installed on top of the floor standers in Dolby Atmos theater systems. Now the wires for the 6000S themselves and the Dolby Atmos speakers mounted on top of them are connected at the bottom of the towers, and the signal is transmitted to the satellites from above through the complete jumpers. The advantage of this connection scheme is not only aesthetic. The banana-type connectors in the upper satellites will not fall out under the weight of a hanging meter of cable. But let's return to the sound qualities of the 6000s. While preparing a review of the new and relatively affordable R-600F speakers, I mentioned that there are no cardinal changes in the sound. But in nuances, the updated speakers sounded clearly better than the previous ones. That is, the update of the family brought quite expected results. In the case of the more expensive reference Premier series, the quality gain is definitely more noticeable compared to the previous generation. Yes, you can still hear the changes only when directly comparing the previous and new models in one room and on one set of equipment, but still. These changes would be enough to call the speaker not modernized, but new. The main improvements are in the bass and lower mids. And here, mainly the new cabinet with spaces works. The articulation has improved, and the bass has become cleaner. The gain in the mid-range is less noticeable, but it is still there. The sound has become somewhat more transparent. Timbres and sound plans are worked out more clearly and stick together in a mess with increasing volume a little later than before. But to be honest, I didn't catch the advantages of the new larger horns. Perhaps if you shift the speakers with horns inside or outside the stereo area, they will appear. But I like to listen to Klipsch with tweeters strictly directed to me, so they give maximum sound information. And you shall perhaps experiment. To summarize, the updated reference Premier series features are about upgraded main drivers, a significantly improved cabinet, and more convenient switching for theater installations with Dolby Atmos satellites, while the rest of the changes are related to the exterior design. Is it worth swapping out the first generation 6000s for newer towers? In the case of the younger models of the reference series, I would say that there is no urgent need to do so, except just to refresh the system visually and functionally. But I would change the previous RP-6000Fs for the updated ones. But anyway, listen to them in person to decide how much my words correspond to your impressions. Question number 2. Is it worth overpaying for these second generation RP-6000Fs, or is it just enough to stop at the same size, layout, and very similar characteristics of the R-600F from the more affordable reference line? It all depends on the task and the budget. If it is strictly limited, or you are choosing speakers for a home theater in a typical living room of an ordinary city apartment, then I won't talk you out from the simpler reference, because for its price it is also an excellent choice for energetic music and movies. However, experienced audiophiles with good hearing will definitely prefer the more expensive model, without any doubts. Because the towers in the reference Premier family really do sound better. And that's all for today. Stay tuned and see you later.